Welcome back to the Rebuilt Parish podcast. Today in the studio, we've got a treat for you. We have 3 parish leaders from St. Teresa of Calcutta in Manchester, Connecticut. These 3 leaders are Father Matt, Rachel, and Rob, and they are here to share all about how they utilized the technology ministry to help make their merged parish of 4 different churches all work together. Get ready to be inspired, especially if you're a parish who has merged recently or will be merging soon. Wait until you hear all of the great insights they've got about connecting their school and parish ministries as well, and how they use technology as a thread to weave it all together. Well, hey there, Father Matt, Rachel, and Rob. Welcome to the Rebuilt Parish podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, Melissa, for having us.
It's really awesome to be here.
Oh my goodness, this is so exciting. So this is the first time I've had 3 guests on at once and all in different locations. So I'm excited for everyone watching us on YouTube. They get to see all of your cool backgrounds. So I'm going to ask if you could each introduce yourselves, share your role at the parish, and then share what cool location you are recording from today.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'll go first. So my name is Father Matt Collins, and I'm the parochial vicar here, as well as the leader of pastoral care at St. Teresa of Calcutta Parish. I came here in 2018 and 2019 during the summer as a seminarian, and later returned as a transitional deacon for a summer in 2021, and now I'm back full-time as a parochial vicar. So it's good to be here. We've got a lot of things happening here in the parish, and I look forward to the good experiences that we are going to have.
Thanks, Father Matt. Rachel, can you introduce yourself next?
Sure. I'm Rachel, and I'm the leader of education here at the parish. I've been here for just a little over 5 years. So today I'm in the youth cafe, which we use for our religious education program at our St. Bartholomew Church.
Amazing. Thank you. And Rob, tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, I'm Rob Muirhead. I'm the leader of communications here at the parish, and I am currently broadcasting from our pre-show studio. So for the 10 a.m. and the 5 p.m. Mass, we do big live broadcasts, and before the 10 a.m., we do a pre-show in the morning just to talk to parishioners who can't make it to Mass, or we have viewers from around the world, so we do our addresses. Oftentimes it's Father Marchin. Sometimes he ropes Father Matt or Rachel into it. Occasionally he ropes me into sitting here this morning. So we figured we would come here from the studio.
I love that. So we're here talking about technology today, and I love how you're showing these different tech spaces. And we're going to dive into some things and talk about it. But I've got to say, your numbers are so impressive when it comes to how many people you reach every single week with your live stream. So I can't wait for everyone to get to learn from all of you today.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Excited to share.
Rob, this first question is for you.
Great.
So can you start by telling us a bit about the technology ministry at St. Teresa of Calcutta? What does it encompass, and how did it come to be?
Sure. Well, so our technology ministry is during the pandemic, before the pandemic, right? We all, I think a lot of churches got into the habit of broadcasting and sort of live streaming when things were closed down and to reach everybody. And we found that continuing that service, there is still a significant population that is homebound, is sick. We find that some of our parishioners, when they travel, still want to feel that connection to their home parish. So we continued from what were pretty humble beginnings into a growing ministry to really reach as many people as we can. So now there is me. After the pandemic, I was hired full-time to sort of take care of all of our communications, technological needs. And we have student volunteers who come in. Actually, this coming Sunday, our youngest student volunteer, I believe he's not yet 13, 12 years old,
Wow.
is going to be volunteering with us. So they come into the tech room with me in the back, and we do a whole, I walk them through to eventually they can control everything on their own, running the cameras, the presenters, everything, right? To give Father Marchin his credit, he has a background in IT and technology.
Oh,
So
wow.
he really knows the sort of the value and the importance of reaching people where they are, and particularly folding it into a ministry that reaches younger and skews younger, right? So we've totally designed from the website to the broadcast. We're designing it to reach people who are unchurched, unfamiliar with where we're going, and we're using as much technology as we can to do it, and updating every day. In fact, we got new, can't quite see because of my camera right now, but we got new lights in here just like 2 weeks ago. Just stepping it up a little bit more every time.
That's incredible. So first, to share with our listeners, Father Marchin is the pastor at St.
Yes.
Teresa of Calcutta. I know he's got an incredible background. I had no idea he had an IT background as well. That just makes him even more amazing in my book. That's awesome. But also, I think it's important to share how many parishes are all together under St. Teresa of Calcutta.
So we're one parish now, right? St. Teresa of Calcutta is our parish and has been since 2021. But originally in Manchester, here in Connecticut, we had 4 different parishes that were merged into 2, and then in 2021 merged into 1 again. So we have across the whole town, if you look historically, we are 4 parishes as 1.
Amazing. Okay. I think that's important for everyone to understand just how many different campuses we're talking about and locations. And I know that there are so many parishes in this day and age that are going through that process of merging, or maybe they already have merged. And I think your parish can be such an inspiration to them when they see how well you can utilize technology, and you can utilize some different ideas to bring everyone together. Okay, Rachel, this question is for you. So we just talked about how St. Teresa of Calcutta is a merged parish with multiple locations. So how does that technology ministry support or integrate with all of the other campuses in your parish?
Yeah, I think technology has been such a blessing to help unify all of us. Since we are 4 churches and 2 schools all merged together, it helps us be unified and remind us that we are all this one community. So it's been really cool. As you can see behind me, we have screens, we have TVs, like more screens in the hallway. So in all of our church locations and campuses and schools, we have screens there. So when Rob creates something for the parish, it can be on the screen and show us all that we're all connected. It's the same logo, it's the same design, the same colors. So we're all one, and it helps us be connected when we're kind of running all over the place from all different buildings and we're all separated. So that's been really awesome to have that.
That's incredible. And Rachel, we've talked before about how you utilize technology in your next gen ministries with your students. So I love that it works seamlessly from campus to campus. That's incredible.
Yeah, that's been really cool too. And I think it just maybe modernizes the faith, or brings the faith into our world today, because one of my favorite sayings from Father Marchin is that if Jesus came like physically today, he wouldn't be riding on a donkey. He did back then because that was like what they did, but he'd probably drive a car. So we have to bring the faith into today's world. So using the screens, using technology, using videos, using headphones, microphones, all that fun stuff to just engage the kids and make the faith alive today.
Absolutely. That's what the kids are used to. That's what they're all used to. I mean, my kids have more devices that I can keep track of. So that is what they get. So if you have if you have that connection with kids, they're going to be more engaged in your programs.
And it's how we reach them too. Like that's where they're at. And so we have to go to where they are. That's what Jesus did. So that's how we
For sure. That's such a great point. Well, Rob, I know that technology sometimes can come with challenges too. So,
Yes,
as much as we want it to work all of the time, what kind of challenges have you encountered working with multiple churches under this one parish when it comes to technology?
So Rachel had sort of mentioned, right, that we are using the technology to try and integrate into every parish, right? Well, we're one parish, into every church location, into every campus, so that we have unified messaging. But that's not always possible in the ways that we would want, in a cost-effective way that we would want, right? Certain older buildings are not as easy to integrate technology in a meaningful way. So we sometimes have to get very creative about, well, okay, this seems to be the only place to put this if we want to have that unified message, if we want to have that. And we've also found that certain populations, right, don't really utilize technology in the same way. So things that we think are very basic, very simple technology that's 10, 15 years old, and we're like, this is a very slow play. There are populations in certain areas, especially age-wise, demographically, that aren't thinking, oh, this is 10, 15 years old. They're thinking this is the future, and we don't, what science fiction is this? And
Right.
So trying to unify a technological approach doesn't always work, right? So we have to sort of piecemeal while still, it's a balancing question of, okay, when are we going to push forward a little bit and go, okay, we think you can handle this, versus, because we want to create that unified experience across any mass, any church that you go to. We are one community, versus, all right, I'll take a step back. I'll take the L on this one, and we'll move forward, in a different approach. So, there are. It's interesting because sometimes people get emotionally attached to a more analog approach, and even if the message is the same, even the intent is the same. Even if you can sit down, again, I'm a very data-driven person in a lot of ways, so I like to sit down sometimes and go, look, I understand you want this, but this is only affecting 12 people, and 2,000 people could be affected this other way.
Right.
That doesn't mean anything to people. So you do have to take an emotional and a compassion-based approach to sort of pushing the envelope forward sometimes, for sure.
Right. So what about, I know you've got some great examples, and I can't wait to hear one of these. Could you share a story of a successful collaboration with the technology ministry that incorporates more than one of your churches?
Absolutely. So one of the things that we do sometimes, I had mentioned before, one of our churches is is harder to bring in the technology just based on the location and everything that's going on. And so we sat down and went, well, we don't want them to feel unattached from the parish, right? Like, if of 4 locations, if 3 of them are easy to upgrade and 1 is not, there's a sort of by the numbers look to go like, all right, well, we don't really take care of that one as much, and we won't think of that because we'll just focus on this. But what happens is that those people who are attached to that building feel like they're being left behind.
Right.
And no matter how much the reality of, well, we can't do this there, unfortunately, like, it's just not physically possible. Emotionally, it just still feels like you're being left behind. So what we did is is the video quality necessarily up to my standards? No. But what we found was we created a portable system, and at least once a year for what turns out to be our biggest broadcast day of the year, for the Easter Vigil, we go down and we broadcast the Easter Vigil. It's a little awkward for me because I'm sort of sitting controlling things with an iPad rather than having a whole control booth, and I'm on the altar because it's the only place that the Wi-Fi will work. But we have made sure to integrate their experience too. And it was more a question in that regard of bending technology to that location and that population rather than trying to get that population to bend to the realities of technology.
Right.
So it required some creative problem solving, but it really does help to make them realize that they are a part of this community, right? In a way that otherwise might not have been possible. So that's one example. Another one, very basic, right? So obviously, we are very big on the weekend experience as well here in Manchester. And so very early on, Rachel had mentioned we have screens everywhere. So we have a digital signage system that is unified across every building. Every building has at least one, if not more, digital signs that are non-obtrusive to the sanctuary and places of worship, but are very obvious. We went around to every property and made sure, like, okay, this is where people will see it, this is where not. So on a rolling basis through all of those screens, whatever our homily series is for the week and our religious education series, obviously they are unified together and they are broadcast across every screen on everywhere. And we also make sure that our digital newsletter features it prominently and have even worked it into our physical bulletin, which we still have a physical bulletin, but we've made sure that those same graphical packages go into the physical bulletin so that no matter how you're getting the message, no matter what mass you go to, no matter what church you go to, you are getting the exact same message, the exact same community that you would get anywhere. And so we have found, at least, that having that sort of spread of digital technology has been really helpful in unifying all the parishes in that way so that everyone feels like they're on the same page.
That is huge. I'm so excited hearing this right now because one of the things we hear from parishes all the time, and Father Matt, you've been in coaching sessions and courses, you've heard some of these parish leaders and pastors saying, can you just help us? How do we get unified? How do we bring about unification between these different parish communities who were once separate, but now we're all one? Mm-hmm. I love that you're doing that. That's incredible.
Yeah, definitely. And it definitely, I think, comes from a mentality of making sure that everyone feels loved and everybody feels included in the grand scope of the vision of the parish. Because when you're working with 4 different churches and we only have 2 priests and another priest that only helps out on the weekends, it's sort of challenging to get to all locations. So when you incorporate these pieces of technology into it, you make sure that everybody, that one, what Rob is saying, all the news gets out there. You let everybody know what's going on in the parish. But 2, you don't make anybody feel left out. And so including everybody into the picture, I think, is vitally important for the success of a parish, as well as gets everybody engaged and also allows for them to get involved as well and connecting to whatever is going on in the parish and seeing how they can support the community.
That's such a great point. Such a great point. Well, now I want to shift a little bit and talk about how we build a technology ministry team, because I'm sure we've got there's parish leaders out there listening thinking, okay, this all sounds great. How do I do this? Where do I even find the people to do this? So Father Matt, can you share how have you gone about finding the right people to join the technology ministry?
I think that Rob alluded to this earlier, was that we have a lot of young adults, teenagers that come in and volunteer for either confirmation hours or we just find them in the pews and we say, you want to come back here and see what we're doing and maybe you want to do this a couple times throughout the year. I think to Rob and Father Martian's point is that you want to make sure you include the younger generation, because the younger generation definitely knows a lot about technology. And they're willing to touch anything and everything when it involves technology. And so I think including them into the process begins that nurturing and begins that growth within their own hearts and minds to say, all right, maybe this might be a path that I might want to go about, or maybe this might be something that will help me to participate in my parish. But I think going towards the younger generation and asking them to get involved, I think that's key in order to discover new people who might want to get involved with assisting with our different technology ministries that we have. So it's a lot of volunteers that both Rob and Father Martian work with that really help engage them into the community.
That's incredible. And Father Matt, something you said stuck out to me. You're finding them in the pews, and that's huge. You're finding them in the pews and you're giving them a direct ask. And what a way to make them feel special and important that you're all just specifically asking, would you like to be a part of this ministry? That it seems so simple, but it's such an important step.
It's the invitation. We have to invite them. They're not going to just come to us. We got to go out and we got to reach out to them and invite them into it. And once we do, you'll actually see a change. You'll actually see something growing in them.
Definitely. Definitely. It's an important part of their discipleship.
Absolutely.
Well, Rachel, I want to ask this question to you because I know that you do a lot with volunteer ministers as well. So what qualities or skills is your team looking for this ministry?
So in being with the religious ed, as Father Matt said, we have a lot of the teens here and in confirmation helping with the sacraments. So we're looking, like Father said, we invite them first. We give everyone the opportunity if they're interested to come. I'm constantly announcing it and letting them know that this is an opportunity that if they're interested in, they can come serve. I think then too, just finding kids that are really passionate about it. So going up to kids that you notice have this really deep desire and passion to work with technology, who are, responsible to handle the equipment and who are excited to dedicate some time to learning and growing in that ministry. So if you notice a kid or a teenager really interested, just not being shy to go up and ask to invite them.
I love that, especially because you're utilizing the technology right in your student ministries right there. And you've got all of those students right there. What a great pool of talent for you. Just right there. That is awesome. Well, Rob, I have a question for you when it comes to the overall technology ministry. About how many people do you have involved in this between staff and volunteer ministers?
So the answer to that is it depends on if it's the summer or not.
Tell us more about that.
So we have we're sort of blessed that not directly part of our parish, but in our town, we have a Catholic high school, right? And as Father Matt and Rachel were alluding to, it's a great potential pool. I actually went down, worked with some of the people at the high school. They have, as part of their ministry, volunteer hours, right? So they have mandatory volunteer hours. So I went down at one point and made a presentation and had some little flyers that I had made up and printed off that said, hey, do you want to, are you interested in streaming? Do you like Twitch and YouTube? Because I read an article at one point, doing a little bit of research, that one of the most popular jobs that teenagers want to be and kids want to be is a YouTuber. And
that's what my kids want to be when they grow up. You got it spot on.
They all want to do it, right? And there is a tendency, I think, when you get older, even myself, right, somebody who works in technology, to kind of roll your eyes and go like, all right, whatever. But instead of rolling my eyes, I stopped and went, okay, let's see how can we harness this energy, right? So I led it with, and I lead some of these conversations with kids in the pews and whatever as, oh, hey, I saw you were like watching a Minecraft YouTuber. I saw that you were like really into Twitch. We kind of do that here in the parish. Do you want to come volunteer? So during the school year, we have more teens, more volunteers come in and want to be a part of it. Sometimes I'll say, they come in, they go, oh, doing a broadcast booth is not quite the same as what I wanted to do. They'll come for one or two and leave. Sometimes they stay and get really into it, to the point where I went on vacation once and went, hey, unfortunately, X, Y, and Z this weekend, we're not going to have anybody to cover. And I asked one of our teen volunteers, with their parents, obviously, hey, would you be comfortable? I feel like he can do this on his own without much supervision. Check in. Is he comfortable coming and doing it on his own? I'll leave out a list. Did it all on his own and everything. So between staff and volunteers, we have anywhere from, the rare weeks when it's basically just me and Father Marcin, all the way to we have probably between, I'll lowball it and say somewhere between 8 and 12 people involved.
Wow, that's great.
You can actually start, right? I don't want people to freak out and think like, well, they have a lot of teams and whatever. You can actually start the low end of this stuff with one guy who knows what he's doing, or one guy who knows how to Google, right? Like,
Exactly.
you can start small and then go from there. So we have anywhere up to a dozen people involved at any given time, but sometimes, again, it's just me or just Father.
Well, I think that's pretty common in parish life where sometimes it is only one or two people. And that's why it is so important to build these ministries, because we can't do it all. Together, you and Father Marcin can't be at every single, single mass when you have 4 churches and 2 priests, celebrating mass on the weekend. So it makes sense to build these volunteer teams.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So now that we talked about building that team, I would love for you to share, how do you go about training and equipping your team for success?
Sure. So the most common, so we have several volunteer, opportunities, right? But the most common one is to work with me in the broadcast booth for our family-based masses here at the St. Bartholomew Church location. So what will actually end up happening is I'll take them into the back, and we have things set up where there is either, you can control. We have we use actually during Mass, at least for those masses, we use technology as part of Mass, right? We have words and song lyrics and everything being presented and projected for everyone. And then we also have multi-camera control, editing, like a control booth and a switcher and everything going on. It's set up where in an emergency, one person can do it. But if I have 2 or 3 kids at any given Mass, 2 or 3 volunteers even at any given Mass, what I'll do is I'll usually step back, give them technology before Mass. We'll go through. I'll have more of a hands-on, and I end up doing more of a director-producer role, right? Where I'll go, okay, here's how the technology works, just as the very basics, and then I will have a very hard hand early on, because you still want to come across looking well, right?
Right.
So I'll have a very hard hand and go, okay, take 1, all right, prep 2, take 2. Guys, we're going to cycle, try and get here. And then as they get more comfortable and as I see them get more comfortable, I'll start to relax control a little bit and go, hey guys, for this section, so you know the routine now, you know how the technology works, let's try and tighten it up. Once they tighten it up, from there, I'll relax even a little bit more and go, okay, you have total creative control right now. For this song, you take the takes that you think are going to look good. You choose the camera angles that you think are going to look good for this, focus on the music ministry. And then obviously I'm right there in case something goes wrong, because as we all know with technology, something always goes wrong.
Right.
So you're ready. And then from there, the kids, you would be surprised, or maybe not, how quickly they start to learn, right?
Yeah.
So that's with teen volunteers. That is with our volunteers for masses. As far as training for staff, I have set things up so that we have sort of a set of standards and a set of practices. People will come to me and go, I have a great idea. I want to do this. And then I will usually work with them to get things done. So we have a series of videos for the homilies, right? Then for our small groups, Father Matt is taking over now. But in the past, we had a priest who wasn't as comfortable doing it on his own. So I was there for all of those. Then we moved on, and someone else took it over, and I was there for the first part. But then they were like, "Actually, I kind of want to do this. I have the comfort now. I want to try this on my own, but if I screw up, can you fix it for me?" And I went, "Absolutely, let's do that," and then moved on from there. So building a ministry is really just about demonstrating the tools, and then keeping interest is about, once they have the understanding of the tools, keeping the interest is about letting them utilize them in creative and interesting ways that still fall within the standards that we're expecting.
Right. Right.
So you always want to stay there, but the more you build, it's about building trust both ways.
Right. Well, Father Matt, you've had the opportunity to be a part of this parish when you're a seminarian and back as a part of this parish now. I would love to hear from you how the technology ministry has impacted St. Teresa of Calcutta overall as a parish.
I think that the technology ministry has impacted the parish of St. Teresa of Calcutta in a tremendous way. When I first came here in 2017, 2018, Father Martian was just getting started. He set up his live streaming for those who couldn't watch, couldn't be in person. But then just to see on how the technology has evolved immensely. He began to do the rebuilt process around that time, incorporating a homily series here and there. And he himself was the only one who was able to control everything that was going on. Now with Rob and his team and us really focusing on the one campus of St. Bart's with all of the technology and or the bigger celebrations, it has definitely centralized the mission of the parish as well as the ministry in itself. Because having to go to each church and to coordinate what happens, it's a lot for Rob. And it would be a lot for everybody else that's involved as well. So having it all centralized at St. Bart's, but at the same time, making sure that everything is still equal at all for the churches is key. So from what I experienced before and what I experience it now, I definitely see a growth in it, as well as the people too. We do get a lot of people that do watch our masses online across the country. And since Father Martian is from Poland, I guess he has some friends that are watch us also from Poland. So we do get international coverage a couple times throughout the year too. So he's definitely developed with Rob and with the rest of the team a good ministry to make sure that everybody continues to feel involved and a part of the parish.
That's incredible. And while we're on the topic, I would love for one of you to share some of those metrics. So what is your reach right now for your online viewership of Mass?
So again, as everybody knows, right? I love to be data driven. On it depends on the Mass, right? So at the most, we'll get, like I said, our Easter Vigil Mass the last couple of years has gotten between 500 and 700 people watching online, plus sort of a very packed house. On an average weekend, try to do some quick mental math here, sorry. So again, during the summer, it's a little bit less because, not even because of viewership, it's been a very weird thing because we get more people viewing, I feel, as they're traveling during the summer, but we also have one less Mass during our summer hours. Okay. So that kind of balances the math a little bit. But I would say on an average weekend, we get between, probably about 300 people, 250 to 300 people watching online.
Yeah.
That's great.
I would say that's a very average weekend.
That's great.
And then, of course, during the holidays, it's, between all the Masses, a couple thousand, right? A few thousand people.
Yeah.
It's a funny metric because one of our messages from this pre-show studio often is come down, join us live. So, one of the fun contradictions that I've found is we are continuing to grow and grow in our online viewership as the parish population continues to grow, but also we're using a contradictory message of going like, hey, it's great that you're watching us online. You should come down, though. You should be here.
Yeah.
It's working, right?
Yeah, exactly. Come on down. Even if you can just join us for the parking lot, for our parking lot ministry, you're still here physically with us. But for those of you who can't, here we are.
Yeah. And
So-
the online and live streaming is for those who are homesick, homebound, can't really get to mass.
Yeah.
And so it's also there to also reach out to those who, again, are unchurched, who don't really have a connection with the faith just yet, but to come in to see what we're all about. And that's the whole entire purpose of technology being active in a parish, is to invite those who are outside and to bring them in. But once they're in, stay inside. Don't try to keep using technology as an excuse. Technology is there for us to assist you, to bring you in, but at the same time, once you're in, become a part of the community that's there.
Exactly.
Yes, that's so good. Well, I would love to hear what some of those key milestones for the ministry, like what are some of those key successes that you've had since this ministry has started? Rachel, are you able to share some of those?
Yeah, actually, one immediately popped into my head. So I started here about 5 years ago, and as Father Matt had said, Father Marchin is just really forward thinking with technology, and he's big into that. So he had just kind of started making that a part of the parish. So we had a screen. We have a screen here at St. Bart's where we have the words to the songs and things, so people can look at the screen and participate. They don't have to feel lost in the book. And I remember to control the slides, we had a laptop that was up on like the side of the altar, like kind of like how Rob said at the other church. We didn't have a studio, and so I would get asked sometimes to go up on the side and like hit the button and like follow along to the slides, and you're just kind of like sitting there awkwardly, like just participating in mass in this different way. So I would say a huge milestone was COVID in a kind of a weird way kind of helped our technology really boom because that's what we had to do to reach the people. So Father created this big technology booth that now Rob has access to and all the controls. And it seemed like every couple of months or every like couple of years, like new things are added to the booth. So it's just continuing to grow and get bigger and stronger. And now we have the pre-show room, and now we have the recording room that Father Matt is in. So just I think just small steps over time leads to really big, awesome things. Even we didn't used to have screens in the rooms for the kids in religious ed and our next gen program. Now every room has a TV, so we can play videos and things off of that. So just small steps growing over time.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Father Matt or Rob, anything you want to add to that?
I'm thinking about it. Rachel mentioning our religious ed, how we can use videos. So one of the things that we do is the room that we're not filming from today is our green room. So we have a full green screen room that we use to create certain videos, but in particular our religious education series. So we've been able to incorporate all of that for that continuous weekend message as part of a religious ed. We go down to the green screen room, we incorporate our messaging like fun backgrounds and things for the kids' videos that then play, and then we also send out via our kids' newsletter to parent emails. I would say those are some of the major ones. I have now done a couple full redesigns of the website to really focus down on really being welcoming, right? So there's this sort of tendency, I think, sometimes to get stuck in our ways and go, well, if they want something, they'll call the parish office. They'll walk up and talk to us. And no one from the ages of 16 to 40 will do that. Right. They just won't come and they won't talk to you. So by fully designing our website, our screens, our newsletter, everything to make it as easy as possible for someone who doesn't know what they're doing to come in and go, oh, I know how to click a button to get an answer. And integrating through all of that, sorry, I could ramble for hours, and I'm going to stop soon. But integrating through all of that is, so we have a parish app, right? We have a phone app that people are encouraged to download, and it sends everything through there. You can get push notifications or not. So really this like holistic integration of tech from our youngest child to our oldest adult seeing it grow since I first joined the parish. Well, first joined the parish. I've been here for 40 years, but first started working for the parish has been really, really fascinating to watch. And seeing even the little stuff like upgrading our cameras, upgrading. I mean, we just changed some cameras out last week so we can do some auto tracking and things for if someone's not there for camera control, the priests can still feel free to walk around and really get animated during homilies and still keep camera on them. So integrating the homilies and the tech into one thing so that mostly you don't know it. No, from the pew, you don't notice anything's changed. It just is a nicer experience.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And I mean, one of the other ministries that we don't normally talk about too much when it comes to all this stuff is actually our schools. Each of the school classrooms are equipped with SmartBoard technology, as well as we utilize Chromebooks and other tablets, I believe. And that introduces to the younger generation that technology is a good thing. And so by bringing in these new pieces of technology, we show them, yes, this is good in moderation. It's a useful tool in order for you to grow in knowledge and wisdom, to grow in your academic studies and everything like that. But at the same time, we also teach that although it's good in this way, you still need time to separate yourself from it just a little bit. It's healthy to get out and actually get some sunlight without looking at your screen and whatnot. So, but it's still good nonetheless. Exactly. But it's still good nonetheless because we say that it's useful. And we can use it for good things, not the bad things. But it's supposed to be used for something that's good, something that's fruitful for your mind, your body, and your spirit. So,
for sure. And Father Matt, I love that you incorporated the schools in that, because we have so many parishes out there listening who that's one more thing where they struggle with, how do I get my parish and my school to all work together? And technology can be one of those threads that you can weave throughout that will help them to be connected.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Well, we have time for one more question here. So I want to ask you, looking ahead, what is your vision for the future of this technology ministry? Are there any upcoming projects or goals that you're excited about?
I guess I'll answer this one, right? But for now, now that the school year is starting again, like Father Matt had said earlier, when things start to go, they can have a tendency to snowball, right? One kid says something to somebody else. One parent mentions something to someone. So this year, I'm looking forward to continuing to grow the ministry and the volunteerism within the ministry, right? To really, really reach, like I said, next week we have our youngest volunteer yet starting, and I'm looking forward to seeing how we can really integrate younger generations even into being more directly involved in the church, right? Capturing their interest from the pew, tying that interest into the things they like to do at home on their own time, and really merging those two and saying, well, you don't have to separate your personal life from your church life, from your technological life. They can be one thing. They are all you. So from a very lower perspective, right, from a very personal perspective, continuing to grow the ministry is something that I'm really looking forward to moving into the. And from the nerdier side of me, looking forward to seeing how the numbers continue to grow, right, year over year. I'm someone who likes to see number go up, and really looking forward to that for sure.
I love
and
that.
I think on a parish level, we're really excited because we've talked a lot about how we are 4 churches as one parish. And so looking towards the future, it can be hard to have to run around from all these different places. So we're looking towards becoming one actual physical building, one church, which is super exciting as our parish continues to work towards that. So I think in looking towards the future, what kind of technology can we bring to this one physical church, and how can we continue to grow that in such a larger scale, since we're all right now trying to be united as individual churches and then coming together as one.
And how technology can help us to do that as well. because doing what that project that Rachel said, that proposed concept, it's not an easy task, and we got to get the word out there. And a lot of people are looking forward to it and are excited for it. So and I think we just got to keep building off of that, keep advertising what we're doing. The studio that I'm in now is more of a formal studio where we record a lot of messages to broadcast to the parish. So Father Martian, Rob, and other invited guests are coming in here, recording different messages and explaining a little bit more about what that process looks like. And so utilizing technology in that sense really helps to engage everybody in the community and informs them as to what's going on, what's going to happen with the parish. But to say that we're still going to be here, we're still going to continue to minister to you the best that we can. And we're just going to be one big happy family, one big happy parish family. So
that's incredible. Well, Father Matt, Rachel, Rob, thank you so much for joining us today. I have to tell you, I look forward every time I get to talk to anyone from St. Teresa of Calcutta because you are all doing such incredible things. So thank you for taking the time to share with our parish community so that they can learn from you. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you
for having us on.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Melissa. We appreciate it.
Of course. So I just want to share with our parish community, if you feel inspired by what you heard today, this team has been coaching with Rebuilt for years. So also I'm going to say, don't feel intimidated by all of their success. It takes time to do this rebuilding. And we have a free tool and resource available for you if you go to rebuiltparish.com/ministry evaluation. Don't worry, that link will also be in the show notes. You can get our free ministry evaluation guide where you can download it, fill it out, and then talk with your team about how you're doing with ministry and set some goals and action items. So we are here to help you and support you. Well, thank you again to the team at St. Teresa of Calcutta. Thank you to our Rebuilt Parish community for all of you that are here listening. We are so grateful for you.